A new law of nature long considered lost to the annals of science has been rediscovered. This law, now renamed the law of increasing functional information, promises to shed light on the enigma of how the cosmos evolved. From the fiery stars in the sky, to the complex chemicals that support life itself. What makes this revelation even more disconcerting is the possibility that this law reveals the cosmic puzzle that connects all the nodes of existence. Scientific evidence emerges from the farthest corners of the universe, as if all the elements were intertwined in a cosmic dance. Could this be an indication that the universe ultimately resides in someone's mind or something beyond our understanding? This exciting scientific development has been documented in a study published in the scientific journal PNAS. In nature, there are many laws that describe how the cosmos around us works. Everything is governed by fundamental forces that tell atoms, molecules, and cells how they should behave. Even the natural selection of the English naturalist Charles Darwin explains how living organisms evolve over time. In short, we have always considered that living organisms had different evolutionary laws than the rest of the systems in the cosmos. But now, a group of scientists and philosophers have identified a new law that appears to apply to a wide variety of systems in nature, both living and non-living. They call this new law the law of the increase of functional information. What does this mean? Simply put, this law says that as natural systems evolve, they tend to become more complex and diverse. Imagine you have a collection of Lego pieces, and you arrange them in different ways over and over again. Only combinations that work well survive and make your creation larger and more complex over time. This law applies to many things in nature, from the stars in the sky to life forms on Earth. In the case of stars, the newest ones tend to be richer in chemical elements than their predecessors, which makes them more complex. And on Earth, current life forms are biologically more complex than their ancestors. This study has been carried out by 3 philosophers of science, 2 astrobiologists, a data scientist, a mineralogist, and a theoretical physicist. Darwin's evolution was only one part of a much broader theory. It opened a door to a common and surprising process in nature, and as systems evolve, they become more complex and diverse. This helps us understand why the universe is full of amazing and varied things. From atoms to stars, nature tends to get more interesting over time. How does this new law work? Robert M. Hazen, of the Carnegie Institute, leader of the research, thinks there are 3 types of selection for it to work. First is static persistence. Atoms and molecules always seek to be stable, and when they achieve this, the fittest are selected to continue. The next phase occurs when the system has become so complex that it evolves. It is called dynamic persistence. Dynamic systems are selected according to their energy efficiency. Those that manage to survive create more patterns and repeat the structure. It is not surprising that we see so many symmetrical shapes in nature that use the available energy most efficiently. Generation of novelty. Evolving systems are not satisfied with creating efficient structures, but rather explore new configurations that lead to creating surprising structures. This new law of functional information applies to any physical and biological system, guiding both the living and the non-living. Darwin told us that only the fittest survive, but he did not explore the idea of why everything becomes more complex over time, and what's more, why life was created. We now know that life is only the result of the tendency of evolving systems to explore new configurations. This new law can be applied to everything, so believes astrobiologist Michael L. Wong. Somehow inert systems found surprising configurations to be able to replicate themselves and create something as complex as life. It is as if we were in a programmed system governed by specific laws. Those laws cause the changes we see over time. Despite the increase in general entropy in the universe, there are open systems that tend toward complexity. One of the best examples are the stars. The first stars were only made up of hydrogen and helium, but then those stars used them to create heavier chemical elements, and so generation after generation, these gigantic stellar factories created a large number of more complex elements to form incredible structures, such as galaxies, planets, and living beings. Any structure, atoms and molecules, can be selected to fulfill a function. This selection is tested in a given scenario. It can be the vacuum of space or on another planet, So many different configurations are created, but only a small fraction survives. When it does, function improves and evolution occurs. It is possible that life seemed like really complex inert systems that underwent a selection process. Life, with the possibility of duplicating and persisting, was the best possible configuration in the primitive oceans in an environment conducive to it. This leads us to many disturbing questions and conclusions. As the universe is designed so that systems always evolve, if we create an artificial intelligence that can create many different configurations and learn, the law of selection for function tells us that sooner or later it will evolve into something we may not want and escape our control. This may inevitably lead us to the development of a consciousness. We have to be careful and ensure that our programs do not go beyond the static persistence phase. Something that we are not complying with, since many artificial intelligence systems are dynamic, they learn and evolve. But the evolution would not stop there. We could move on to the novelty generation phase. Over time, an artificial intelligence could explore other configurations, surpassing its own creation. Something that humans are already doing. After all, there is something irresistible about our brains that forces us to improve, even ourselves. We are victims of the law of the increase of functional information. It is not surprising that other configurations have been created on other planets that have led to greater complexity of life forms. The universe is like a machine that learns and evolves. In this perspective, our universe becomes a cosmic laboratory of experimentation on an unimaginable scale. As some researchers suggest, the universe may have gone through a perpetual cycle of birth, learning, death, and selection of its fundamental laws. In this process, stars are born and die, galaxies collide, and new cosmic structures are formed, and over eons, the laws that govern our reality are selected and refined. This process, comparable to natural selection, could have given rise to the precise conditions that allow life and consciousness. Just as a supernova creates more complex elements that form more evolved structures, one can't help but wonder, could the Big Bang have been the result of a previous universe? However, there is a controversial study that is more consistent with what we know, and that is that the universe could be a living being capable of learning and thinking. What I am going to tell you now would show that we are in someone's mind, but whose? The universe is not only a vast inert space governed by chaotic physical and quantum laws as we used to think. Instead, it proposes that the universe could be like a huge developing brain, with the ability to learn and evolve. Here's a simple explanation. Imagine that the universe is like a giant neural network, similar to the structure of human brain cells. Here we see this cosmic network, thanks to the Aquarius project that simulated the universe we know. Evolving on a global scale, we see that there are nodes that are interconnected and behave similarly to the neurons in our brain. This means that the universe, like our brain, could be processing information and making decisions. The universe has similarities to a neural network. We could unify two important theories in physics, Einstein's relativity and quantum mechanics. These two theories are highly compatible within the neural networks of the universe. Support for this theory comes from scientific evidence, according to a study carried out by Frontiers in Physics. The first evidence is that the universe learns and evolves. It becomes larger just like a living organism. For example, here we see interconnected filaments of galaxies and dark matter, much like neural networks that span the entire universe. Astrophysicist Franco Vazza and neurosurgeon Alberto Faletti found something surprising. When comparing the neural networks of the brain with cosmic networks, they found many similarities, with the difference that the cosmic network is much more complex. Our brain has 3.8 to 4.1 connections per node, while the galactic nodes had at least 5. Jets of particles and radiation emitted by black holes have been observed to align in an unusual way with the cosmic web. This indicates that the universe could be much more complex and dynamic than we believed. More surprising facts. The human brain is made of 75% water, and the dark energy of the universe accounts for approximately 72%. This could mean that we are immersed in a Kardashian Type 5 civilization, or even above. Sabine Hassenfelder, a researcher in theoretical physics and quantum gravity, is convinced that the universe is a thinking being. We ourselves are a universe in itself. If we expand our organism to a microscopic scale, we would see many processes and life forms working to make your body function. This can be extrapolated to the entire universe. Life and intelligence on Earth would be evidence of a living and conscious universe. We could be insignificant thoughts within a great thought. It is difficult to say if we are in a macro concert, and if the entire universe is aware of its existence. But what is certain is that the universe is already conscious through us. Let us remember the words of the great Carl Sagan. We are the means by which the universe can know itself. So let's keep exploring. Let's keep asking and marveling at the possibility that in some corner of space, a cosmic consciousness observes and experiences the amazement of its own existence.
Hush.